Hello, my name is Kevin Clay, and I am one of the mentors at Six Sigma Development Solutions. Today, I'm going to take you on a brief tour of the Lean Six Sigma project charter and show you the four critical elements of the charter. The four critical elements of the charter are, and we have it here on the screen, the business case, problem statement, the goal statement, and the project scope. I'll briefly define what each of these are, and then we'll go into a little more detail what you see here in this example. So the business case describes why the project is important to the company. Why should the organization support this project? And really that should line up to your strategic objectives, your KPI, key performance indicators. So again, the business case is, why is it important for the company to take on this project? Why are we tasking green belt or a black belt to take on the problem? Then we have the problem statement. Okay, the problem statement contains a brief description of the pain being experienced by the organization. All right, it should really be related to the voice of the customer, and whether that customer is either internal or external. So you'll see the problem statement here on the example. Then we have the goal statement. The goal statement is, what is the goal of the project? What are we trying to achieve? How much improvement is targeted? So the goal statement should be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. This is called a SMART goal. The goal should be related to the problem you're trying to solve. It should be, there should be a defined metric in the goal. Really, there should be a defined metric in the business case, the problem statement, and the goal. And we'll talk about that. So the last of the four elements is the scope statement. The scope statement of the project clearly defines the physical boundaries of the project. All right, the scope defines what's included in the project and what is excluded in the project. So it gives you what are those physical boundaries. Scope can include project families, geographical areas, departments, etc. It doesn't necessarily have to only include the physical boundaries, but it could include those external variables that are coming into your project, like HR, finance, quality. Those external players that might actually play a part in your process, but they might not be in the direct stream of your process. Okay, so we will first cover the business case. So again, the business case is, why is it important for the company to embark on this project to solve a problem? Here in this example, and this is an example that we provide to our green belts. It is a full project from the very beginning, the charter, all the way to the control phase and the control charts and control plan. So I will give you access, or I will give you a link to go out and obtain this project example in the description below. So business case. The business case here says from one date to another. So 6/5/2016 to 6/12/2017. PBJ Inc., and that's our fictional company. It means Peanut Butter and Jelly Inc., has experienced a 23% increase in operating cost of PBJ construction, or actually making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So this company, a fictitious company, that provides peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to schools all over the domestic United States. Okay, again, it has experienced a 23% increase in operating cost. Okay, it has a target of 0.05%, so we're well exceeding that target cost. This increase of 22.5%, okay, has led to a cost of poor quality of $253,000. This is very important in a business case. You'll see this in the charter in the fact that we state the present state and we state the future state or the goal state. All right, and we actually do that in the business case problem statement and the goal statement. Lots of metrics. So what's really important here is, number one, we let our stakeholder understand, the problem we're experiencing, what the delta is, all right, the 22.5%. And really importantly, we let our stakeholder know the cost of poor quality. That's what COPQ means, cost of poor quality. That cost of poor quality is how much is that delta causing us, all right, between 23% and 0.5%. All right, the 22.5% is our delta. That's what we're trying to cross. We may not cross the whole thing, but we want to let the stakeholder understand what is the impact of this problem that we're experiencing. We'll get into defining what the cost of poor quality is. All right, so later on we'll actually tell you how, not how to calculate it, but how to define that. So again, the business case is why is it important to the company? I call the business case the wow statement, all right, because it has that cost of poor quality, and that should be given in dollars. If you're a for-profit company and you're taking on projects that don't equal bottom line dollars, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Now, things like safety, etc. That's we can take on those, but in Lean Six Sigma, we're trying to put money back on that bottom line. So the wow statement, cost of poor quality, should give us that statement that makes your stakeholders go, wow, this is really a problem. Okay, now we'll move on to the problem statement. Okay, the problem statement should really be focused on the pain we're experiencing. Okay, the pain, and that pain has to be given to us in a metric. I have a lot of green belts that, in their charter, the charter has a lot of information in it, but no metrics. So we have no idea where we're starting from. All right, we have to understand our starting line. I call it the starting line, like a race. Okay, so the starting line has to be defined to us, and it has to be defined in a metric. So in this case, in our example, in the last 12 months, our operating cost of PBJ construction has been, on average, $1.89 per sandwich. Now, this is up 23% from our target. Our target is, in our business case, it's a target of 0.05%. So again, this is telling us where we are presently. All right, where we are presently, and we have to know that, because if we don't know where we are presently, and if we don't know our goal in a metric, then we really don't understand if we've actually crossed that delta, all right, crossed that bridge to get from our present state to our goal state. Okay, so let's move on to our goal statement. Our goal statement is reduce PBJ construction costs from current 1.89 or $1.89 by 23% to $1.45 before 12/10/2017. Really important in a goal statement, has to be a SMART statement. Okay, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. All of these are very important. It has to be specific to the project, the problem that we're trying to solve. Okay, the goal has to be specific and tell us what we're trying to get to. Okay, specific, relevant, has to be relevant to the company. And really what that means is this has to cascade down from a strategic objective. There has to be a KPI that we're trying to affect. All right. If you're taking on a project and it's not cascading down from a KPI, that my question always is, why are we doing it? So relevant, it has to be relevant to a strategic objective. Specific, relevant, attainable. All right. Attainable. It has to be something we can actually attain. The metric, if I want to get to 0.5%, 0.05%, I need to know that's obtainable. That's another problem that a lot of greenbelts have is we want to solve world hunger. All right. And we set a goal that's so far outside of our bounds that we're never going to get there. So specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, all right, relevant again to the company, and time bound. All right, time bound, very important. We have to have a milestone date or a deadline date, really milestone dates that lead up to a deadline date. All right, if you do not set yourself a goal as far as a date, what you're going to end up with is something called the never-ending project. All right. And the deadline date is made up of milestone dates for each of the phases of the DMAIC. You'll see down here under project status. All right. These are each of the milestone dates. So that way we can manage our project within the project to the start date, define date, measure date, analyze, improve, control, all the way to the completion date. If you don't have those dates, again, your project will elongate and in most cases never gets finished. Okay, so again, the goal statement. All right, the goal statement must be a SMART statement and it must be time bound. Our fourth critical element is the project scope. Okay, so the project scope is it's a lot of my green belts, in particular, new change agents, really look at project scope and they define what the scope is of the improvement. So they say, well, you know, we are going to bring in a new ERP system. We're going to do this. We're going to implement this, etc. That's not what the project scope is for. The project scope is to clearly describe the physical boundaries of the project. All right, and it keeps us from doing something called scope creep, which means we start to get outside of our scope and our project just grows immensely. In Six Sigma, Lean Six Sigma, our job is really to get down to that small manageable scope. All right, and a lot of times in your initial project, you may not really understand what the scope is. So, but we have to draw a line in the sand somewhere. We have to say, okay, what is the process that we are investigating? Now, scope really deals with the steps in between the beginning of a process and the end of a process. All right, beginning and end and the steps in between. Okay, so in this case, project scope is PBJ product line SM24534. I just kind of made up product line name. Okay, within that scope, we are also looking at first, second, and third shifts. Now, that's important for us to understand what we can look at, what is within our control, what we have data of. Now, out of scope, this is really starting to fence in our process. Out of scope is all other departments. So if we are in our analysis and we start to see that we're traveling to other departments, we know now that we're out of scope, all right, that our scope has grown. And there may be a reason to do that, but we need to physically bound our process so that when we start to go out of scope, we have to step back and say, whoa, wait, are we, all of a sudden growing this project, which is the growth of a project is going to correlate directly to how much time it takes to complete it. And is that really needed? Okay, so that is your project scope. Again, those physical boundaries. Now, outside of our 4 critical elements, we also have cost of poor quality. Okay, and the cost of poor quality is really just defining where you got your COPQ in your business case. Okay, it's defining it. It's giving you more information about how that was developed. Now, I tell my green belts and my black belts that our firm trains that this is really left up to your financial people. Okay, because you don't want to enlarge your cost of poor quality or make a guess to it, because there might be people in your company that are going to be held to task for that. All right, so you don't want to overstate that, and the best way to do that is to use finance to understand, okay, what is the real cost of poor quality of this delta, and they are going to give you a very conservative number, but that's okay. That's okay that they do that, because internally to your company, those that really see the process are going to know the impact that this plays. So a learning from that again is don't fill that in yourself. Don't fill in that cost of poor quality. Engage finance for that number. Okay, some other elements of the charter that are outside of those 4 critical parts is we have to know who the project leader is. Okay, who's leading that project, who's the go-to person. Who are the team members? Okay, so there might be other green belts on the team. There better be SMEs, because you can't take on a green belt project, a black belt project, any Six Sigma project, unless you have subject matter experts, because you as the change agent are not the person that is going to improve the process. That's a misnomer that a lot of people have about Six Sigma. You as a green belt, a black belt, a lean agent, whatever, it's not your job to improve a process. It's your job to be the guide on the side, know how to use the tools, and the SMEs are the ones that are going to improve a project. That's just change management 101. So we have to have our SMEs, our subject matter experts, I call them the PhDs of the process. Key contacts. Key contacts could be outside consultants. They could be other people that are actually in on the team, but you may need to use them. Our stakeholders, we really need to know who our stakeholders are. And our stakeholders could be external or they could be internal to our company. And last, we have, again, the project status. Project status is a breakdown of the milestone dates, all right, with something that helps us to understand how we're doing as far as percent complete. And then we use the colors yellow, green, and red as a way to visually see what the health of our project is. So I hope from this short tutorial that you understand what or how to fill out a project charter. Now, on our site, and I will put this down in our description, but we have a more in-depth tutorial on how to complete the project charter, and that comes with a certification. So if you'd like to take that project charter, please do so, and have a great day.